Okay. The Cleveland Board of Building Standards and Building Appeals will begin with the preamble. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting had the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raised hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. And we have a comment. Ms. Aston. Patty, do you have a comment on that?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Did you want to take the roll or to have my comments first?
We'll take the roll. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Mack. Mr. Batley.
Here.
Mr. Dink.
Here.
Mr.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland Law Department. I would like to verify independently that this is being live streamed.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Maurice. And then, Mr. Chairman, as you know, each time the city will object to the use of the chat function based upon the posting of the Ohio Supreme Court on boards and commissions. Thank you, sir.
Noted. First docket, A5520 4237 Rocky River Drive.
Application order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued on February 12th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 6, 2020. Requesting 6 months to abate the violations. For the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton. The appellant has been properly notified and has failed to respond to the meeting request.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Mr. Vanover.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Dank, we have Patty Aston with her hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Preliminarily, since the appellant has not made an appearance, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, has today's notice of the public WebEx hearing been returned to the board's file for any reason?
No.
Thank you. And Ms. Davis, did the board receive any phone call, email, or any other communication from this appellant regarding this matter?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This board has authority to proceed under due process.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, do you have comments or information on this appellant's property? Mr. Vanover?
So, yes.
Mr. Vanover?
Yes.
Yes. You're breaking up.
You're extremely garbled. Can't really make out what you're saying. At least I can't. I don't know if anybody else is having that issue.
We can't hear him.
Is that better?
So far.
Keep trying the question. Our question to you was, do you have comments or information? So try that and see how it works.
So,
It's still breaking up.
You might want to try calling in, Tom, if you're having trouble with your microphone for the audio portion.
And you are. Tom, we're not hearing anything.
I understand, Mr. Chairman. I
Okay.
tested earlier and everybody could hear me and now they can't. So bear with me just a second.
So now you're coming in perfect.
Yeah, I actually had to switch laptops. So, all right. So, Mr. Chairman, as you can see the list on the list in front of us, there's exterior maintenance issues, and I think there's photographs as well that are there photographs to accompany this. Ms. Davis?
I don't think I have. I don't believe I have any photographs for this one. No.
No, you any photographs for this one.
Okay. All right, and I apologize for that, but the inspector reports that there's been no progress. So we ask that you deny the appeal and without further information, deny the appeal and remand it back to the department.
Okay, and my review of the property is it looks like a medium-sized apartment building. And it says shared egress. Any comments from board members?
I agree with Mr. Vanover.
Okay. A motion is in order to deny the request for any additional time or to remand the property to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley. Second by Mr. Maskey. Call a roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you. Second docket A 5720, 11901 Miles Road.
Okay, the fees are in order. Violation is condemnation of the main structure issued February 10th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 9th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton, Law, Helen, properly notified and has failed to respond to the meeting request.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you
I
God.
do.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public hearing returned to this board's file for any reason?
No,
You and Ms. Davis, did the board receive any notice, voicemail, email regarding this matter from this appellant? Having heard her no, Mr. Chairman, this board has the authority to proceed under due process. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, do you have comments and or information on this docket?
Again, Mr. Chairman, this is it's a maintenance of I'm sorry, this is actually a condemnation of the main structure for an apartment building. The inspector reports that it hasn't been abated. The request was for 10 months. We are at that 10-month mark. And so I would ask that you deny more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing. They've actually, just due to the fact of the delays due to the pandemic, they've actually gotten the 10 months that they wanted.
Yeah, right. Okay. Any comments from board members? Hello, anyone?
Yes, I agree, Mr. Dank.
Okay. And thank you. A motion is ordered to deny the appellant additional time, noting that he has received his 10-month request and to remand the property to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and any further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you. Next docket A, 5820, 7,000 Central Avenue.
Application and fee order, notice of violation, extraction, issued on February 14th, 2020. Appeal statement 2020, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. The law, appellant properly notified and not responded to the meeting request.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Preliminarily,
Chair- Go ahead.
preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's hearing returned for any reason to the board's file?
No.
And did the board receive any voicemail, email, or any communication from the appellant on this?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you do have the right to proceed under due process.
Thank you, Mr. Vanover. Any comments or,
So, Mr. Chairman, we ask that you deny and remand this back. This is an elevator violation for failure to inspect and failure to test. And we, according to the inspector, they have attempted several times since this notice was issued to contact the appellate, the owner, and with no results. And some indication that the person that originally owned it no longer owns it. So we are not sure of the ownership, but we just know that we can't get a hold of them. And this is a vacant building that's somewhat abandoned, and we are appears to be abandoned. But and we haven't had the opportunity to inspect or test the elevator because of the condition of the building. So we ask that you deny it and remand it back to the department.
thank you. Any comments from board members?
Agree with the city.
Thank you. Motion is in order to deny the appellant any additional time, noting that the test hasn't been run and that the appellant has not responded. The property is remanded at this time to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion is so in order.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
Mr. Maskey.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank, yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Wait, before we, Councilman Phyllis Cleveland is it on, again, this was in her particular ward. I'm gonna send her the link. We might have to come back to this particular structure. So give me,
Okay. Return, okay.
trying to read what she's saying now.
All right. We'll do that. We'll do that at the conclusion, if not before. Next docket, A 6120, 9413, Fulton Avenue. Oh, this docket has been withdrawn. So there will be no action by the board on this action. This
So,
docket.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
if I may
Hanover.
ask, going back to the previous docket, the elevator, did we vote on, I mean, is that finalized and then we could come back to it, or is it still open? I
We
think so.
voted.
Okay. All right. Thank
It's
you.
closed. We will have to open it. It's closed. It's
Thank you.
completed. Thank you. Next docket, A 6320, 12500, 12600 Shaker Boulevard.
Application fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance issued on February 21st, 2020. Received March 16th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law, and for this property, please announce your name and the role that you play.
Yes, good morning. This is Nick. So on behalf of Appellant, and also here is Emily Truex, who is representative of the building owner, property manager.
Proceed. Did you swear yourself in?
You have to swear them in, Mr. Chairman.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, proceed. This is a multi-story apartment building, correct?
That is correct.
And you're working on it.
Yes,
Hello?
I'm sorry. Yes, can you hear me okay?
Mr. Trice, right now, yes.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Yes, this is a property that was purchased in late 2019. Work has been ongoing at the property. Almost immediately subsequent to purchasing the building, there was some substantial and undiscovered issues with both the roof and the parapet wall. Those items have been or are in the process of being corrected. The owner has spent north of $300,000 in doing so. All of the items involving life-saving issues on the violation were immediately corrected. Some of the remaining violations are remaining in part due to COVID, in part due to the tenants not necessarily wanting the contractors to enter their property. And as the pandemic has gone on, we've noticed more of a willingness or ease of letting our contractors in there. And based on that, we would request just a short 3-month extension in order to be able to complete all of the violations.
Mr. Chairman, we have Ms. Aston with her hand raised.
Yes, Ms. Aston.
Thank you. Just very briefly, one, I think he answered my question. One, is it still occupied? And two, when you say life safeties, do you mean the smoke detectors? Because there's a lot of them listed. And if any of those are not done, which ones? Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to, Emily, can you respond to that? Have all of the smoke detectors been replaced that were noted on the violation? And if not, which ones?
No, they have all been replaced.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we don't object to a 3-month extension to completely abate the violations.
Okay, any comments from the board members?
Agree.
A motion is ordered to grant the appellant until April 1st, 2021 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher, second, Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Next docket A, 6420, 7105 Moraine Avenue.
Application and fees are notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued February 7, 2020. Appeal statement received March 17, 2020, requesting for 90 days to abate the violation. Present for hearing, Tom Vanover.
Solemnly swear, And that is all?
Just me.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public WebEx hearing on this matter returned to the board's file, whatever, for any reason?
Ms. Davis?
There you are.
Yes.
Was today's notice of the public WebEx hearing returned for any reason on this matter in 86420?
No.
And did the board receive any communication, email, or phone call or voice message from this appellant? Thank you. The board has the authority to proceed under due process, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Mr. Vanover, proceed with your questions or comments, please.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would ask with this one as well that it appears that it's just the front entry and some overhang. They asked for 90 days. As you can see, we're well beyond that 90 days. I would ask that you deny more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from board members?
Agree with the city.
Thank you. A motion is there to deny the appellant for additional time, noting that his time has been inadequate by his own appeal. The property is remanded at this time to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Maskey.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dane,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you. Next docket A 5320 3344 West 128th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation for exterior maintenance issued January 30th, 2020. Received March 4th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patty Aston, Law. The appellant has been properly notified and has failed to respond to the notice.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public hearing returned to the board's file for any reason?
No.
And did the board receive any voicemail, message, email, or phone call from this appellant?
No.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it appears you have a due process to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, would you proceed, please, with any information you have?
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a rental inspection that was conducted in January of 2020. There's considerable issues, including smoke detectors, debris, broken electrical systems, and a lot of just general maintenance, water damage inside. We would ask that you deny and remand this back because this is an occupied rental dwelling. It's got some egress issues with busted stairs. So we would ask that you deny it and remand it back to us. There's a lot of work that needs done in here.
Thank you. Any comment from board members?
Agree with the city.
Thank you. A motion is ordered to deny the request for any additional time and remand the property to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action, noting there are some dangerous conditions that must need immediate correction. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Bradley. Second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you. Next docket A, 5420 10511 Buckeye Road.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued 3rd, 2020. Appeal statement received March 5th, 2020. Requesting for 6 months to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. The appellant has been properly notified and has failed to respond to the notice.
Thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public WebEx hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason whatsoever?
No.
And did the board receive any message, voicemail, or email from this appellant?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You do have the right to proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, may we have your comments?
Mr. Chairman, as you can see, this is a notice of violation. It's exterior maintenance. And that there's a laundry list of exterior issues that are, and damage. They've had all summer to fix this, and they asked for 6 months. We have surpassed that 6 months from March, so we ask that you remand it back to the department with the understanding that they've had their 6 months that they requested due to the delay in hearings, and we are now into the winter months, and I don't see the need to extend this any further. Also, with the understanding that this is a rental property that they should have maintained this to begin with. So we ask that you deny it and remand it back to us.
Thank you. Any comments from the board?
Agree with the city.
Thank you. A motion is in order to deny the request for additional time and to remand the property to the Department of Building and Housing, noting that the exterior maintenance months have expired and we're into the winter months. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Maskey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Next docket A, 5620 16909 Paulda Drive.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violations is condemnation of the main structure and of the garage. Main structure and condemnation issued on March 20th, 2016. Garage issued February 19th, 2020. Appeal statement received March 9th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. The appellant was properly notified and has failed to respond to the hearing notice.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So
I
help
do.
you God.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public WebEx hearing returned to the board for any reason?
No.
And did the board receive any voicemail, message, email, or communication from this appellant?
No.
Mr. Chairman, the board does have the authority to proceed under due process rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, may we have your comments, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So I was I'm more like the board. I was hoping that the appellate would actually be in attendance for this hearing. Due to some technical issues, we didn't have access to the interior photos. The exterior of the house looks somewhat handsome and, intact. But in speaking with the inspectors, it seems that the interior is in shambles, at least when we did the initial inspection. So short of testimony from the appellant, we would ask that you deny it more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing. So that
Okay, thank you.
we can reach out and figure out what's going on.
Any comments from board members?
Yes, this is Board Member Gallagher, and I noticed too on the driveway, it seems to be broken up there towards the sidewalk. I don't know how bad that is from the picture. But anyways, I agree with the city. Let's remand it.
Okay, thank you. A motion is ordered to deny the appellant for any additional time and to remand the property to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and required further action. Noting that there was no response from the appellant, nor did he appear at the hearing. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion for Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Docket A 5920 3618 West 49th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation, interior and exterior maintenance, issued December 13th, 2019. Appeal statement received March 10th, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, time for Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. Appellant been properly notified and has failed to acknowledge notice.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Mr. Chairman, preliminarily to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public WebEx hearing returned to the board for any reason?
No,
And did the board receive any communication, voicemail, email, message from this appellant?
no,
Mr. Chairman, the board appears to have the due process authority to proceed, and I will note there are smoke detectors cited. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, may we have your comment?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is a rental property that's corporately owned. So, there's a great deal of issues, as you can see from the photographs. We ask that you deny and remand it back to us immediately.
Thank you. Comments from board members?
With the city.
A motion is ordered to deny the request for additional time, noting that the appellant has not responded for the hearing. The property is remanded at this time to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you. Next docket A 6020 406 East 148th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance and also lead. Issued on December 26, 2019. Appeal received March 12, 2020, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. Appellant was properly notified, failed to respond to the hearing notice.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public WebEx hearing returned to the board's file for any reason?
No.
And did the board receive any communication from this appellant, email, voicemail of any type?
No.
And Mr. Chairman, the board does have the authority to proceed under due process. And again, this one does also cite smoke detectors. Thank you.
Thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, Mr. Vanover, may we have your
Okay.
comment?
Mr. Chairman, this, I mean, I think the photos speak for themselves. There's a lot of dangerous exterior work that needs to be done here. There's missing rails, there's rotting floors, there's unkempt systems. We ask that you deny and remand it back to the department.
Thank you. Comments from the board?
Agree with the city.
Thank you. A motion is ordered to deny the request for additional time, noting that the property is in poor condition, that there are smoke detectors missing, and the appellant has not responded. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Mr. Shank.
Yes. Thank you. Next docket, A 6220, 1430 West 116th Street.
Application are in order. Notice of violation is fire. Issued March 6, 2020. Appeal statement received March 16, 2020, requesting for time. Present for the hearing, Tom Veno, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law, the appellant, properly notified and has failed to respond to today's notices.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right.
Preliminary, Tom, let me just get this in the record. Thank you. Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Davis, did the board's notice of today's public hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
No.
Did the board receive any communication regarding this matter from this appellant, a message, voicemail, email, et cetera?
No.
The board does have the authority to proceed under due process, Mr. Chairman. To Mr. Vanover, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, the appeal statement does talk about notified its insurance company. So if you could give, if the building department received its portion of insurance, fire insurance proceed funds regarding this matter, or if that would not be a part of this. Thank you.
Mr. Vanover?
Mr. Chairman and Ms. Aston, I do not know if we have received insurance proceeds. So there's permits issued on this, and the obviously you can see that there's work being done on this fire damaged property. I don't know why the appellant's not here. We would ask, though, without further testimony from the appellant, that you remand it to the Department of Building and Housing, the violation notice, because this isn't an appeal of the violation notice, that you remand it to the Department of Building and Housing, allow us to follow the permit as long as the permit is valid. My concern comes that they've started work and maybe they've abandoned it. It's become too expensive, or they didn't, whatever the case may be. So we would ask that you remand the violation notice back to the department and allow us to follow the violation notice as well as the permits that are in place.
Okay, any comments from the board?
Yeah, I agree with the city.
It looks like he's made some progress, but you're right, he may have abandoned it. A motion is in order to remand the property to the Department of Building and Housing to allow them to follow the permit path for the owner, with the owner. And take any appropriate action. Motion so in order.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, we have a reopened docket, docket A 5220 7026, Wade Park Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is the condemnation of the main structure issued February 18th, 2020. Appeal statement was received.
Hello?
Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton Law. The appellant sent the link 2 times, and I don't see them today.
Did you say they accessed it? They tried to
No, our last communications was yesterday, but I have
Okay.
read them the email link for today's hearing twice. I presently see them logged in.
Okay. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, in your conversations with the appellant, because this was just previously heard, if I recall, did they say they had not received the original notice and they got your ruling from the board? Can you just explain that to the board, why it was brought back on?
It was brought back on. They received the notice online. However, they failed to log in on time.
So similar to today, did you talk to them after sending them the link for today's public WebEx hearing as well? Or did you just send them the link and you haven't spoken with them since?
Our communications has been via email. They are aware that today will be the hearing. Last night, they sent me a request again I sent it again last night, as well as this morning.
Okay, if you could, Mr. Chairman, the city is going to request that in addition to Ms. Davis's testimony regarding this, because this is actually the first time I think we've actually had this issue arise. If for posterity, Ms. Davis can put those email communications into the board's record for this matter. I think you guys normally do that anyway, but just for posterity, because you do have this unique situation with the pandemic and these virtual hearings, and there has been a request to communicate with the board. And did they, Ms. Davis, did they say what they were seeking from the board that they did not log in timely on 2 weeks ago?
Give me 1 second, so I can.
And if you could hear from Mr. Vanover, and then she can give you that testimony. I think
There.
since it is unique, you get that information in the record. Thank you.
Okay. The comment they do make is that it's for 6 months. They're asking for 6 months. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. So, Mr. Chair, I mean, this is the same testimony I gave before. I mean, you can look at the conditions of the property. It didn't happen overnight. They've had more than the 6 months that they've requested to do something. And now we're just kind of bouncing through the appeals. I don't disagree with Ms. Ashton that if they're having trouble getting in or whatever, that we need to. I don't know what the solution to that is, but my testimony is the same as it was. It's a building that's been neglected and allowed to become in disrepair. So even if the appellate was on, we would ask that you deny it or remand it back to us. They can still do whatever they need to do if they're going to do it. It's now December, and the exterior maintenance months, at least the easy portion of the exterior maintenance months are gone. Now to do this work, it becomes more difficult and more costly, but not impossible.
Any comments from the
Mr.
board?
Chairman, well, Mr. Chairman, preliminarily, before you get to the board, to Mr. Vanover, this is a condemnation. and you probably gave this testimony either 2 weeks ago, or I may have just missed it. Was there permits or any application made regarding this matter?
No, we've got no records of any permits on
Okay,
this.
I just want that
Because
in the
it's a,
record.
yeah. To my knowledge, we do not, no.
Okay, so our motion is going to be to remand it. Any comments from the board members?
Agree.
Reed, thank you. Motion is in order to deny the appellant any additional time and to remand the property to the Department of Building and Housing, noting the condition of the property and the lack of testimony from the appellant regarding his intentions. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion.
Discussion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This is Patty. Discussion. This was brought on 2 weeks ago to reopen from 2 weeks. Given the circumstances, instead of adopting it today, can I ask you have that here, that one, you hear from Carmela to make Ms. Davis to make sure that she to answer the questions, that there were nothing specific in their statements, the most recent comments back and forth in the email that she puts in the record. But also, given that they did reach out one more time, you not adopt it today, but do adopt it at the next one. I don't believe it's been this long. I don't believe there's any harm in that, and it protects due process. I think Mr. Matejka would agree with me on that. It protects, since they did try. I see that, Dennis, you popped up. They did try to reach out when they did have some issues. So that small delay, although it is condemned, it does protect the due process requirements for them. I feel obligated to state that on their behalf. Thank you.
Okay, so the board will instruct the executive secretary to hold the action on this docket until the next board meeting. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher, second, Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Mr.
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Next docket. A5120, 3678 West 137th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance, issued back August 12, 2019. This is a time extension issued from a previous abatement ruling received on March 2020. Appellant was properly notified once again, and they have failed to acknowledge or to log in this meeting. Present for the hearing, Tom Van Building and Housing, and Patricia Ashton Law.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, I know you gave the testimony. I'll just have you state again, since we've been doing this the same. The notice of today's WebEx hearing, was it returned for any reason to the board's file?
It's not.
And did you receive any recent communication regarding this other than to put it back on under the time extension?
Had received, again, like the other docket, an email notice after our hearing 2 weeks ago. We called for additional time. It was explained then to the owner that they had to log into the virtual meeting to request that time, as they once did in the flesh when we were still operating in 514. They acknowledged that on the link, and they still have not logged on.
And this was all via email communication, as you testified in the previous one?
That's correct.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, the city will request that the board, as you always do anyway, but we'll make that official request that communication be documented in the board's file for posterity, given the circumstances. We've now had two, it looks like, but other than that, it appears since they had received communication with specific instructions that the board has the ability to proceed under due process. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, would you go over the history of this? What happened in March 2020?
I think I need sworn in still, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay, thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. So, Mr. Chairman, the photographs will show the damage that still exists and the deferred maintenance or the maintenance violations that still exist. We're now some 8 months later, so I understand the pandemic, I understand all that, but this is, all summer to make some progress. Fundamentally, just so I can make my record, I don't understand the ability for the board to hear an appeal under the due process rights, make a ruling, finalize that ruling, grant time, and then the appellate's ability to come back for more time after the board has made that ruling. I think that my understanding is that their next step should be to escalate the appeal to, through the courts. So to come back after you've made a ruling when they've done nothing, I don't understand that. But in this particular specific case, I don't know that that's proper, but in this specific case, we ask that you deny it and remand it back to us. This is all exterior work. So if you give them 6 more months, they're still going to only have 2 months that they're going to be willing to work on it. So, regardless of the fact that they're not here, I see no reason to grant them more time because it's just going to extend it into next year.
Mr. Chairman, based upon Mr. Vanover's questions, was the board's extension of time request for additional extension of time made during the initial time period granted by this board?
It shouldn't have. Ms. Davis, do you have a comment on that? It shouldn't have been. That's why we asked for the history to see where we were.
This was originally and adopted under docket A 262-19. They came to, we heard them on January 22nd, 2020. They were granted until March 1st, 2020 to complete abatement of the violations.
And when was this appeal filed?
Yeah, that was what I was just going to argue, Tom. So they were granted until March 1st, 2020, and the board docketed it March 3rd, 2020. The city would argue that it was untimely request for additional time. That's exactly what I was going to argue, Tom. They were required to ask for that prior to the March 1st date, and that predated City Hall closing and the pandemic closures, which was, I believe, like around March 17th or 20th, Mr. Chairman, for clarity.
Okay.
So based upon that, Mr. Chairman, the city would ask that you find that it was untimely brought back, requested to this board as it was not made during that 6-month time frame, and deny the request for time and remand it to Building and Housing.
Okay. Any comments? Regarding the board?
I agree.
Thank you. The motion is in order to find that the request for additional time was not filed in a timely manner during the initial 6 months granted to the appellant. The time request is invalid. The properties remanded to the department, and any additional time is denied. The property is remanded to the Department of Building and Housing for supervision and required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Maschke. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maschke,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Ms. Davis, do we have any comments on the 7,000 Central Avenue? We will proceed without that.
We would counsel Cleveland, which is a for not being able to be today, and she does not know the owner, will wish to meet the owner to find out what the future plans will be for the structure there.
So we're
All she
going
had.
to proceed. We're going to proceed with the resolutions. Yes. A motion is in order to approve the following A20 resolutions. A 4120, 42, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 50, 51, and 52. Any additions or corrections to those resolutions?
Correction.
Discussion, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, not docket A5220, which was the one you reopened, and we're going to hold until next meeting, so not the last one.
Thank you. We'll eliminate docket A5220 from the approval. Any
So moved.
additions or corrections to the other dockets?
No.
Hearing none. Approval for approval.
So moved.
For approval
So moved.
by Mr. Gallagher. Second
Second.
by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Next item, approval of minutes of November 25th, 2020. Any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion for approval as submitted.
Approved.
Motion by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes. Ms. Maskey?
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
I would discuss.
Any other
Docket-
comments? Any other comments?
Can you hear me?
That's, Mr. Chairman, I think Carmela's trying to have something to say.
In regards to
Ms. Davis?
5220, in regards to docket A5220, since
Yes.
that until January, was that open? Can you open that door up for that appellant to come back to give testimony on how they're going to plan to abate the violations? So when they contact me, I have clarity on what we can explain to what today's process was.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, on behalf of the city, it would be just as if it was one of the new ones. It'll be adopted in 2 weeks, or, well, it's not 2 weeks, in January. It'll be adopted in January should the situation remain the same. The city's asking that it be adopted in January and no further, I think it's a denial and a remand. So that's what the board, I would argue the board's going to adopt the resolution should they not be able to call in again. We don't know what the problem is. So without that, I would suggest it, and the board, Mr. Chairman, it's just a suggestion. I would suggest that the communication be, well, it's going to be adopted as is because you've not come in twice.
Okay, so I was checking on we're not having a meeting then on the 23rd, 22nd, 23rd of December.
I think the next docket is the 20th, so they have plenty of time to figure out how to do that.
Are we meeting on the 20th?
January
I think
20th,
January is,
21.
yeah, January 20th, 2021, right, Carmela? That's the next, it's not the 23rd and not the 6th, correct?
That's
I
correct.
think it's, yeah.
January.
So they have plenty of, Mr. Chairman, the city would argue they have plenty of time, one, to get it done, and two, figure out their issues or give a more bigger statement or specific statement to the board in writing if they cannot get a technical, I don't know why they can't get in, but they should explain that to this board. The board has given them 2 times now to try to get into the WebEx. And if they can't, they can obviously email, because Ms. Davis has had communication via email. So they obviously have some interaction with electronic. So they can email. The question is, why can't they log in or call in? We've had many appellants throughout the year call in. So there's more. They don't have to use a computer. They could use the telephone system call in to explain the situation, or they could explain in an email as to why. But the city would argue, given this is you're quasi judicial, so you've given them the bare minimum of notice and opportunity to be heard. That's what the courts say is the requirement. You've done that twice now. There's no reason between now and January 20th, 2021, when this board next meets, that they don't fully explain that to this board. It would be unreasonable at that point, I would argue, on behalf of the city, to not adopt the deny and remand.
Okay, and saying that, what action should the board take at this time?
If they reach out, or I would suggest, the city would suggest that Ms. Carmela's communication be exactly that they have to explain to the board why they haven't been able to get in, since they are able to email, especially since they can they can call in, because the board's notice does give the ability to call in, as well as get in the link to get the virtual WebEx instead of the telephone.
Okay, so our instructions or our request of Ms. Davis is to communicate properly or appropriately with the appellant and tell them that the 20th of January is the final date, is the date of our final resolution.
That you would be adopting, correct? I agree. I don't know if Mr. Vanover has anything additional to add to that, but I think that's reasonable. And then at that point, you'll be adopting it to remand it.
Okay.
No, that's fine. As long as my only request is, like Ms. Davis did for today, if it does come back up on the agenda where they will be giving, or they indicate they're going to be giving testimony, that just let us know on the docket so that I can be prepared for it.
Very good.
Hey, just to be clear before we get off, we are not meeting again till the 20th of January, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That's what I was wrestling with. Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Happy holidays. It was our longest and best meeting. Thank you all.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
New
everybody.
Year.
Bye,
Everybody
everybody.
stay safe.
All right,
Alrighty.
bye.
Stay healthy.
Bye, everyone. Have a good holiday.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys.